Ranks, a show where we debate takes so hot that they'd melt a planet twin suns. I'm Brody, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Brian and Amanda. And today we're breaking down Star Wars: The Bad Batch, Season 3, Episode 12, Juggernaut. By the end of this episode, we'll have a definitive answer on where this piece of Star Wars content ranks amongst the rest. Y'all, it's been a minute since we had a guest. We talked about that last time we were
First
here.
of all, it's been a minute since the three of us have also.
Yeah,
been
I've kind of
together
like ditched
at
you
the
guys
same
for a
time.
while.
It's like an eclipse.
Yep.
It's finally happened.
Once in
Twilight
75,000 years.
It's rare, but we're back. We're all back together. I feel like I'm the guest on this show now.
Welcome.
A guest in my own home. But no, I went out, and while I was gone, I was on a journey. And on my journey, I went to go make new friends. And in that journey, I brought those friends back like souvenirs in my pocket. They're here to join the show, but they're not new to the show. We've had these guests before, and we wanted to have them again, but we couldn't pick one because it's been so long. We don't know how to manage content calendars anymore. It's been too long, so we brought them all into once. So I don't know who we're going to have on as guests next week, but I'm going to go alphabetically just because it makes it easier that way. Our first guest, you know her, you love her, but she doesn't love Yoda. And that had a lot of flack from our fans and our listeners. And you let us know what you thought about that. But how about you just let her know yourself? The first guest of the night, Alanis.
Hello.
Welcome
Hi.
back.
I'm so excited to be back. I'm also excited to continue on my Yoda hating legacy.
Oh,
I'm with you
I will
there.
continue. And you know what? With a lot of the High Republic stuff that's coming out, while I'm not as well versed in it, I have heard a lot of inklings that the Yoda hatred is coming into fruition, more popular.
Ooh.
So
Yoda
it's
haters
very-
unite.
I know it's a very exciting time to be a
Strange.
Yoda hater.
I feel like a real influencer now. I've actually influenced the population.
Right?
It's all us.
We're
It's
getting there.
Alanis,
depressing.
you know, you've been here before, so you know that we ask everybody who is your favorite Star Wars character.
So, favorite easy, I have to say Anakin. And I know it is so like, right? It's like, who is that even?
I
Right?
forgot about him.
Which one?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. But I have him tattooed on me. I feel like it would be a little suspicious if I didn't. I will say though, Obi-Wan and Thrawn, very close second.
Wow.
Fair enough.
Mm.
All right, what is the best Star Wars movie?
Oh, this is also going to enrage people. Attack of the Clones. It
Oh,
has
no,
the best
not your
character
favorite.
development.
That's the best. There's a difference.
That is the best.
Oh, it is the best.
It's objectively
Best character
scientifically
development.
proven.
Yeah. Character development, the amount of worlds we see,
hmm
the Battle of Geonosis, the fact that the Clone Wars, which is just a beautiful piece of animated media, directly follows it.
Beautiful.
It's stunning. It's a stunning piece of media, and I will die on that hill as well.
We are going to do a re-review and just rediscuss Attack of the Clones. We'll invite you for that episode because
We
I have
need
so
her.
much I want to say, and we're not here to talk about that tonight. And we have more.
Across the Stars.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's
Are
true.
you my clone?
Haha. Look what he did there. Well, Alanis, it's been too long. We're excited to have you here to join the DOTR crew, but you're not alone today. Keeping this alphabetical order going, we have a friend of ours we haven't been on TikTok in a moment, but this guy, like, he does things on TikTok. He's well known. Maybe you've seen him at some sort of red carpet thing. Maybe you've seen him at some Star Wars celebration, or maybe you're going to DiadCon later this year. If you don't know who I'm talking about by now, I'll just bring him out because it's Darth Chaco.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Sorry if my mic is making weird sounds. I apologize.
Sounds all right now. Well, good to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always enjoy talking Star Wars, and yeah, it's been a hot minute.
It has been a hot minute. And so let's remind the listeners, who's your favorite Star Wars character?
Favorite Star Wars character? I gotta go. It does bounce around because I do love a lot of my High Republic characters, but I'll keep it basic for now and say my boy Plo Koon. Don't know why. I just love Plo Koon.
Solid.
He's the dude. He's like cool, responsible uncle energy. Right?
Hmm.
Good take.
Yeah. Not to me. All right. Amanda, what was the next one? The best movie?
The best film. Yeah. Best Star Wars film.
Mm.
Best film, Last Jedi.
Oh, all right. Now we
Right at
outnumber
home.
Brody.
Right at home.
Why? Why? I went
We've
out on a
already
journey to
discussed
find
this.
people. who
Maybe we
just-
can re-review this one too.
Oh yes.
I'm not allowed on that one.
No, this is duel of the ranks. This is where we
3v1's
combat
gonna be too
ideas.
easy.
And Brian wants everyone to be friends, and that's why I'm like, we're gonna go bring some
Love is
people
in the
together
air.
who are just gonna hate
Yeah.
each other.
We're
are we
gonna
gonna do to
resolve it.
help
We're
the
gonna
Star Wars
fight it
fandom?
out so we can come together as a community. That's
Everyone's
why
like,
we
the
do
Star Wars
this.
fandom, we just need to heal it. Or I'm like, oh, we just throw it in a bag and just mix it all up. And
Just get it all out there.
I mean, that's how
Foster.
every found family starts in Star Wars, honestly. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
we gotta hate each other. And then we're like, oh my god,
We
they're gonna
need-
defeat the Empire.
That's true.
We need the conflict, but we just need to like not be dicks. Like I feel like it's an easy line. I don't know.
It sounds easy.
It sounds easy, but have you
But-
met me?
But have we met our last guest?
Oh, we've met this last.
Have
guest.
we-
And let me
we-
tell you, this person, if you're watching the video, you'll see that this last guest is going to fill the space between Darth, Chaco, and Alanis. But this person is anything but filler, and if you call him that, well, you're done. You're just done. Let me tell you right now. Listen, Brody. We've got Jedi Master Luke. And he didn't fill the space. Gosh dang it. All right, you know what? No, I'm gonna
Well-
leave you.
Great
He filled
metaphor.
the
There we
space.
go.
Now he's
There
in the
we
middle. Luke.
What's going on? I
From
feel
the
like I'm
Pod Ones.
I feel like I'm Bo-Katan and Mando season 3, like just lounging on the
Very.
couch right here. You know, I feel like I'm
You're
bougie.
sitting like a
Big bow
bisexual.
energy.
You've had a lot
Yeah.
happen in your life. We've been staying in touch, Luke, the last since
Mhm.
you've been on like a year ago.
Yeah.
Last time I saw you in person, we were in London.
Yep. A year ago today.
Mm. Well, take the listeners through who haven't met you. Now, all the new people that have jumped on in this last year. Favorite Star Wars character?
Well, my fiance she's on my right, took my favorite character. So I guess I have to take number 2 from her, and I'd have to say Obi-Wan.
Mm.
Not just the fact that I look like him.
You
You
like
know.
cosplay as that man.
I
And
do.
you were on stage with him.
Yeah,
What?
I was.
You literally
I was on
shared a
stage.
stage with you and McGregor.
Wow.
It was a good
Yeah.
story. Great
Brian
story.
would melt.
I would pass out.
I was
instantly.
shitting. I was literally just like, what? Okay.
I saw the photo and I'm like, I really am so happy it happened. I can't find a more fitting person and someone who would appreciate that moment more than Luke.
Yeah.
So when he showed
I
it to
think
me,
it
I'm
was-
like,
Yeah, I think it was the day after that me and Alanis ended up meeting Hayden that day.
Wow.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It was.
What a
Brian's like,
day
now I
after.
hate you.
What a week. No, not at all. I'm honored to be in the presence of
It-
someone who's been in the presence of Obi-Wan.
I love how tied together your guys' relationship is to Star Wars
Over
celebration.
a celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, to
say
her,
the wedding needs to be in Japan.
no, that is not
Destination.
going to be expensive. That's not going to be expensed out. Nope. Nope. But to her left, she actually has the pictures of both of when we met
yeah.
you and Hayden from Celebration 22 and 23. So
Wow.
Couple
stuff.
goals. Hey, Luke, we already have a question in the comments. What are Jedi Master eggs
Scrambled.
like? Are they they are scrambled?
scrambled.
Uh,
I'm a
that's kind of-
scrambled guy.
I'm gonna say that's kind of lame.
I would say omelet.
That's fine.
Omelet
That's
toast.
fine. You know, hey, not everybody has to have their eggs the same way.
That's true.
Mm-mm.
You're right.
Not everyone. All right. We are here to actually talk business today. We have rankings and we've got a whole lot of people to talk about them. So, Amanda, what happened on this most recent episode of the Bad Batch Juggernaut, aka in our rankings little doc here, we call it episode title. What happened?
Omega finds herself captive at Tantus base, greeted by Dr. Hemlock, who oversees her testing. Despite attempts to reason with Emery Carr, Omega faces the reality of her situation as a vital asset in Project Necromancer. Meanwhile, the team, joined by unexpected ally Fee Genoa, executes a daring rescue mission to extract former Vice Admiral Rampart from an Imperial labor camp on Erebus. Amidst intense action and strategic maneuvers, the Bad Batch secure Rampart, who promises crucial information in exchange for his freedom. As the episode unfolds, revelations about Tantus-based sinister experiments unfold, hinting at ominous developments for Omega and the other Force-sensitive children. With stakes escalating and alliances shifting, the Bad Batch confronts new challenges, emphasizing the complex interplay between loyalty, survival, and the ever-expanding grip of the Galactic Empire's ambitions.
Your synopsis was more interesting than the actual episode.
I agree.
Clearly from these ratings here.
We didn't show a lot of love to this episode. Why?
I thought I
Why
hated
did
it, but I have the highest score.
Chaco, why does this episode suck?
Uh-oh.
I agree.
Hello, Mr. President.
He's like, on that note, I actually can't answer that question.
No, so for me, this episode, it confirmed a lot of stuff. I mean, I had already predicted every single thing in this episode. It said it was called the Juggernaut, and I was like, okay, well, probably referring to the tank from from the trailer. And so I know Fee's going to be there. I knew who exactly was going to be there, figured what they were going to be doing. All of the reveal about, her M count, and that's what I've been saying. I've been saying forever that she's Greek yogurt, right? Like, it's not her metachlorian count that matters. It's the ability to mix in from outside and have it not degrade. So just like Greek yogurt being used in sauces, you can make it savory, you can make it sweet, you can toss pineapple or whatever in there, and it just works. That's Omega. Omega is Greek yogurt. Anyways, it just confirmed a lot of stuff for me, and so the excitement wasn't there. I felt like I was back in season 1, which I didn't love.
I tend to agree, and it seems like we're all kind of shaking our heads, and this might ignite some animosity between us, but this to me was like definition of filler, as far as we didn't really move the story forward all that much. Like you said, Chaco, like nothing kind of new was revealed other than, I guess, Omega, the main character, got to learn herself kind of all of the other pieces that have been put together. And otherwise, this felt like a plot point directly ripped off from the Bill Burr episode with Mayfield in Mandalorian. And they didn't even end up getting any more information about Tanta's base. So they rescue Rampart, and then at the end, we're just like, okay, guess we only have 2 more episodes to find out, because I guess we didn't find out this time.
Right.
Cool.
No, my biggest eye roll was I thought there was a really cool opportunity to actually have the tension between Hunter and Crosshair come to a point. Like, Crosshair's obviously been hiding something this whole season, and when he reveals it, Hunter's like, why didn't you tell us before? And then he's like, I was scared to go back to Tantus. And that's it? There's no repercussions for that secret? There's no, significance to that choice or those actions? I thought that would have been a great time for Hunter to just punch him in the face. We just lost Omega. We could have figured this out a long time ago if we had told Rex about this before his entire squad was wiped out. Then maybe we would have had a better shot.
I think my whole kind of perspective on this idea of filler is filler, in my eyes, gets confused with simple writing. Because filler is truly not moving the plot forward. If anyone watches anime, those are the beach episodes. They're just there for fun. But in the terms of this, it does very minimally move the plot forward. Like Omega does have to learn about, who she is, where she's going. She has to have some interaction with Hemlock. But for me, the writing here is so incredibly simple. Like, I watch everything with captions, and just reading it on screen, the transcript, I was like, ooh, bummer. There is so many more opportunities, especially in the Hunter Crosshair scene, that they could have added something. Even like with Rampart and the other worker, when he's like, agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I'm glad that you brought that up, Alanis, because I also wanted to see maybe a little bit of jealousy happen between Hunter and Crosshair in the way that like Omega has really shifted her like fatherly somewhat figure is more to Crosshair now. And we've seen that coming over the last few episodes, and I feel like that's just kind of a missed opportunity for there to be some unique inner conflict between them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Rampart was kind of the one redeeming factor for me. I thought that was a cool way to tie something in that we completely forgot about. pretty forgettable guy at first. I don't know about y'all. But this episode made him seem really smart and cool and scary.
Yeah, well, I'm actually kind of worried because I've been seeing some borderline Rampart like thirst out there.
What?
Yeah, no.
That's weird.
Yeah, babe, it's just because of the beard. We all know this.
You just
agree.
abuse, okay?
It works.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll admit it.
He said, "I'm worried because I've been
time
seeing
out.
some thirst in half of the
Time
room
out.
raise their hand."
Time out.
Wow. All
Time
right.
out. So
What?
what you're telling me? So what you're telling me is that we can forgive fascism if they just have a beard? Okay.
Yeah, if there's
if
sex.
it's a
Whoa.
good beard. I mean,
That
you can't
was
have
a
a patchy beard.
I think
Let's draw a line somewhere, okay?
We're
I
saying
don't
you
know.
better
I'm
not
kind of
ever
liking where
change.
this conversation's
All right.
going.
That's why there's so
Sounds
much debate
awesome.
about Thrawn. There's no beard.
There is no beard.
It's
That's
like
true.
Luke's like,
It'd be terrifying
do
image.
you want me? Is like people are talking about Hitler's like, don't even get me started. Like that's as much as you can grow. No wonder nobody likes you.
Yeah. No wonder you
People
failed,
thought of you differently, bucko. You went through
man.
puberty.
Okay, let's
Guy
rein
couldn't
this
get it
back
done.
in.
Do not make this the social post. That is not exactly just pull out of context.
Sorry,
No,
I didn't
Brian,
mean to
you
take us
brought up
off.
about Rampart and how he was kind of like the only redeeming part for you. And to
Mhm.
me, it just laid into how much more boring of an episode this was, where it was like, oh, we have to like reach into this back pocket and see like what other kind of random characters that we had previously can we like throw out here. And it's like, I don't know, it just like didn't feel earned or
I don't know. I don't
worth
think
it.
I don't think they're just thrown in there. I think they're intentionally tying in all these loose threads and trying to make everything that was set up in the first season like come back. I've been rewatching the first season with my friend for his first time, and I forget about how many things like that are introduced that like I feel like there's still room to bring back at the end of season 3. We have 3 episodes left and a lot of loose threads to tie up. I feel like if you go back and watch the first 2 seasons, I think there's a lot of room for making the whole trilogy of seasons seem very coherent, seem far more connected than either of the other animated shows. And
one thing I do want to say is that when you look at what they did with this episode or and with this season, is we are seeing all the people involved were part of the same machine at one point in time, and they all got off at a different point. They were all betrayed by the same machine at a different point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's going to sets up some interesting juxtaposition because, there's a difference between Crosshair and the rest of the team because he turned at a different time. And then we have Rampart, who was his turning point. And yeah, I think that's the conflict that we're setting up. I just wish we could have gotten to it a little bit faster.
mm-hmm.
What I want to know, I haven't heard much from Luke this conversation. Do you think that this mediocre content we're getting is just further validation that Star Wars is like it's past its prime? It's Shaquille O'Neal and the Celtics. It's just you should have rode off on the sunset with Dwayne Wade, and instead you're just still here.
Not one bit.
I mean, honestly, probably not. I mean, there is a little bit. I mean, look at it. Look at the release schedules now. They're not releasing anything for a long time. And there's a reason for that, because I feel like there is a little bit of oversaturation, a little bit. There have been some misses. Not everything has been great. Not everything should be great. I mean, it's not validation to others that are hating on it just to hate on it. But it is a real thing of like, hey, there's fatigue. It happened with Marvel. Like, all these things happen. Like, it happens. And then it's just kind of figuring out how you can kind of bounce back and kind of grab the audience again. I think that's why we're taking such a long break from what we're seeing, because after Acolyte, we might be getting Skeleton Crew. Who knows if that's ever going to come out? I mean,
Which is wild.
Pretty
Yeah.
sure.
it's been in the bag since almost October of last year, and we haven't heard a thing.
Before that,
So I mean, yeah,
actually.
before that, it was done before Celebration, wasn't it, Brandon? I
Mm.
can't
That's
remember
the
exactly.
first time I ever heard of it was at Star Wars Celebration, not last year, the year before, and they were like, "We
22.
wrapped filming this show," and I was like, "What show is that?"
yeah, and then they gave the first look at Celebration last year, and they dropped a trailer, but they didn't release it publicly.
Right.
So
That's
I
so
don't know what's
silly,
going on with
especially
that.
since it's a show featuring younger actors, and we all know that by the time they start doing promo for it, they're going to be adults. They're not going to look
They're all
like
gonna
they
have-
were there. All of their voices will have dropped, and
They'll all have
Grandpa
beards.
they're going to have to
And
they're
plus-
going to have beards.
Yeah.
And the lore of just like Jude Law, like, it's
Mhm.
very seldom in
Yep.
Star Wars that we get, a big name actor.
A-list.
Yeah. And, you would think that they would want to pull that, especially seeing how well The Mandalorian did in kind of skyrocketing like Pedro Pascal's career, and then people kind of like meeting The Mandalorian that way as well.
Yep.
So if it does come out, I would love to know if we ever could find out the reason of its stalling, but I doubt it'll ever be leaked.
Yeah, I just
I also have to push back a little bit about the mediocre content comment from Brody.
mhm.
Really? Why? You think it's been stellar?
I think season 3 of The Bad Batch has been the best season of it by far.
I'm with you.
Agreed.
And that's saying something.
So, because I mean, the first season I stopped watching it at midnight. Right, it's the only show I didn't want. Like, I didn't feel the
Yep.
need to watch. I just whenever it came on. Second season was better. This season was a lot better, and so
Yep.
we'll have lulls in the season.
Yeah.
If you like the Clone Wars, you can't tell me there's no
Yeah.
lulls in.
Mm.
That show is the most beat for beat, pound for pound, solid Star Wars content ever made. It never has a lull. No
Well,
The
filler.
droid arc? The
And you're-
droid arc.
I'm gonna say, yeah, that's a
You know
tough
what's
one.
funny about that?
Did
That's
you
the
mention
only time
Rebels?
I've been on a guest on Pod Ones, and it was to talk about the droid arc.
Yep.
And that's it.
No, it wasn't even the droid arc. It's not even the official droid arc. It was the R2 Adventures of R2 and C3PO.
Oh yeah, I was like,
Oh.
man.
Worse.
Not the
Oh,
mini
they're
guy.
like get fruit.
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
like, this is
As the
yeah.
world's biggest R2 and 3PO fan, I can say that those episodes are boring.
That is actually filler. That's-
Yes.
Yes, that doesn't push the foot.
But one thing that we all seem to be in total agreement on is that the show is beautiful.
Mhm.
Like, it
Yeah.
really has taken what Clone Wars started and just kept making it better and more refined and more detailed, and it's such a beautiful show.
Yeah, in literal
will
ways as well as
say-
lore wise.
My only critique with the imaging, and this is my critique with a lot of things coming out, why is everything so dark? I hate it.
Yep.
I hate it because I get it. I get the reasoning behind it, and people can go in lengths all day about the depths of black and all this fun stuff, right? But if you think about it, the average consumer does not have the capability to access that content in the way that it should be. And if you're really trying to push a fandom, push, a product, why are you making it so dark? Just don't.
This episode was
It-
pretty bright, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was me watching Obi-Wan. I was, well, trying to watch Obi-Wan, like
Yeah.
squinting, and I'm like, what's
Yeah.
happening? And it was shaking.
Mm-hmm.
Like the camera, it's dark and shaky. Like this was the worst.
Tread
Yeah.
on. You're treading on water there, buddy boy. Don't make me bring up
You might
Boba
as
Fett,
well
'cause I will.
submerge me, because that was a part of this whole mediocre run of content that I'm like,
Which also includes your beloved Book of Boba Fett. So just make sure you keep that in mind.
false, because that show sucked. Anyway,
Oh.
moving on. We'll never
We all
forget.
seem to have really also enjoyed the music, and that's something week after week that always
Kiner.
really always stands out. Kevin Kiner.
Mhm.
Yeah, the
Score, just-
the Kiners do a great job at just hitting a tone. When an episode comes out and it's just like you know it hits when they like the music makes it. I feel like with
Mhm.
them, and the fact that they're finally getting their dues with Ahsoka and also getting more chances at live action, not only in Star Wars but in other projects, is
Mhm.
Mm.
absolutely amazing. I'm so happy for them.
Yeah, no, their music game really, I mean, I don't know if they've just been given access to more instruments or if GarageBand
They
added more
unlocked
software.
them.
Yeah, like something happened where it went from sounding extremely computerized to
They used the microtransaction to access better quality.
They
instruments.
finally paid for the full version of
Yeah.
of the studio what they're using.
oh man.
It's like Helldivers currency that you have to grind it out.
You have the full free loops now. That's amazing. Well, do we have anything else to say about this besides the fact that overall we rated this at a 63.33%? Yikes.
Yeah, I mean,
was-
I said there was still going to be room for this season to suck. I mean, unless like whoever Rampart's talking about, like he has to be someone interesting or like important. Like if it's just another dumb cameo shoehorned into the end of the season, and we get another episode of just like repeating the same plot points, you know, the same dialogue, the same exposition every time, and not really going anywhere with it. Or I honestly, in my opinion, if Omega actually ends up becoming a Jedi or training with the Force, I'm gonna lose it. Like we don't need that. The whole point of this show was that we don't need that to be every story. We
Yes, we
can
do.
have
Agreed.
original characters.
Agreed.
And I want to see the dark ending with Omega when the rest of the Bad Batch dies and she teams up with Boba Fett and becomes a bounty hunter. And
I want
And-
Omega to stay locked in Tantus. Like,
What?
I know that sounds dark and
That's a
disgusting.
dark ending.
Yeah.
I know.
And darker than I
know.
could
For
have
me,
Are you putting
I-
your passive aggressiveness from your students out on Omega?
No, because here's my thing. I think it would be so interesting to have kind of Tantus being this ongoing operation and continue it on a little bit longer post Bad Batch. And kind of give Omega an opportunity to break out and have her own story. Because I think the possibility there for a dynamic story would be so much more interesting than, oh no, I'm alone. All my, brother, father figures are dead, and I'm gonna be a bounty hunter, like you and every other bounty hunter. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm,
So
agree.
that gives
I
me
think
that kind of relates to the High Republic in is it Mari Santeca, who's like the
Mari
eye or
Santeca, yeah.
whatever, like she's sort of like locked in and like kind of held against her will to be like part of this like machine.
Yep.
That'd be
Yep.
dark. Oh my gosh. And that's from somebody who like roots for everyone to die at the end of things. Like that's even dark for me.
So
Yeah, but Palpatine's plans don't work, and he doesn't end
Agreed.
up creating a clone
It's
body
true.
capable of it. So we know something happens. Now,
Yep.
Omega could just die. Oh, that's also possible. But
Poor-
but
This
that's
gets worse
not
and
not
again.
what I
worse.
want. That's not what I want. All right. No, I want to see Omega do what Anakin said he was going to do. Right? Anakin wanted to come back and free all the slaves. Right? I think that's what Omega is willing to do. That's what she wants to do. That's why she volunteered to come back here. Because even for the past couple episodes, she's been wanting to come back. And I think the only thing that's really been stopping things was Crosshair. I mean, we're gonna have to find out what exactly happened to Crosshair because this episode did confirm that the twitching on his hand. At first, I thought it was like some type of remnant from like frostbite from almost freezing to death
Oh,
in the past season. But no, he pretty much confirmed what the way he was talking about Tantus and how violently his hand started shaking in that moment. He had some traumatic stuff happen, and so we need to figure out what that is. We need to have the unmasking of the clone that is Tech under there. It's not Cody. I don't know why people keep saying it's Cody. It doesn't make sense.
Cody.
I need it to be Cody.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That makes no sense to the narrative of the show, The Bad Batch.
It's not Tech though. It can't be Tech.
Why can't it be Tech?
It's Tech.
Because Tech is Splat, and because it's also a crosshair of clone or a clone of Crosshair.
Crosshair a clone.
Crosshair clone.
No,
or it's the original, or it's the original Crosshair, and this one's the clone, and he has an existential crisis over it, but they accept him anyways. And then he dies.
I will say, I do think it is probably Tech, but my reasoning for Cody is we have 2-3 episodes left, right?
3.
Yes.
Cody left how long ago? And all we've got is he went AWOL.
Yeah, he could have gotten recaptured.
And my thing is, like, it is a very Star Wars-esque thing to leave it off there, especially with the fate of Cody being so gray area-esque for so long. So I think me wanting it to be Cody also relies on the fact that since I was very, very young, I always loved the idea that the reasoning that Rex went into exile was because he was the one to kill Cody. And,
Oh, ouch. Yeah, I wanted to see the Battle of Umbara kind of rematch, the 501st versus the 212 in that one hero battle between, showdown Western style between the two would be gut wrenching, but I just know it's going to happen. It just, I don't know.
It would be really cool.
Yeah, it would be. I think
like, even if you want Splat, Hemlock shows up with his goggles. So whatever splatted, he went and swept up. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, true.
I hope you would say Splat.
Got the shop vac.
Amanda's been calling him Splat since the moment she saw him, and the fact that now he is Splat, it would just be so sad to have to.
I think he's gonna kill Hunter.
That. No.
Ooh, that's
I want to see Omega kill the Bad Batch. I want that to be how this show ends.
Okay.
Holy
anarchy.
What?
I want her
darker and darker.
Yeah, my God.
No, here's my thing. This is I would be you cannot tell me people would not be locked in to that scene where she kills them all off one by one. Now look, I mean, obviously execution style, just one after the next. They were like hooded.
All right,
I'm not going to be able to unsee that.
Somebody mute him.
Safe, and then she's just like, good soldiers follow orders.
Follow
she has an inhibitor chip.
Right, I'm saying. Wouldn't that blow your mind?
That'd be crazy.
So all right,
people would be talking about that for weeks. So
exactly, like she's got a chip in there. That's one side. The other side, okay, she's not going the clone side. She goes the Jedi side. Let's have her do what Rey couldn't. Right, kill your friends. So she.
What? Did you just miss the whole thing of the sequel trilogy, or
so,
what?
Like, her friends are flying away. She thinks something else is on that ship. She screams, "Force lightnings!" The Bad Batch are toast, and now the goggles roll back to her with Wrecker's helmet and something else, and she gets what she's done.
So
and she turns around and sees that Force and goes Force Unleashed on the Force of Stormtroopers. She goes Force Unleashed on him, goes ham. And now she's basically the Punisher. She's going to be what Boba Fett also was written to not be anymore. Have her be the Punisher. Have her go find Asajj Ventress and be like, I'm going to be a Force.
I wish we could zoom in on everybody.
I like where you ended up. I like where you ended up there.
Yeah. And then she's like, they're like, are you good? Are you bad? She's like, I'm just down to kill. That's it. And I'm going to get mine. And if you're in the way, you're dead. That's all there is to it. She's
But
bad.
why do we have to keep going back to the bounty hunter arcs?
I agree.
Those are cool.
Can we have Omega do
No, she's gonna go off
anything
with feet.
What
else?
else can she do?
Go off with
She
feet.
can do what?
has no
Dude,
skills.
She
she
could be a little
Sarah?
farmer.
Whoa. She doesn't have any skills?
She has no skills
worked as
besides
a
that
lab.
lends to bounty
What?
hunting.
What? Are we just
All
gonna
her other
forget
skills
that
are
she was like
boring.
in the cloning facility?
Yeah,
for
yeah,
most
she did
of
work
life?
under Nala Say.
She's not
She's got
She could make
Yeah.
toys.
She could
She's a
also
genius
become a
practitioner.
professional
I don't want
gambler.
to watch a show about her being a toy maker.
Yeah.
Her-
I like the
her real-
gambler part.
Yeah, her
She
real
could be
secret
hanging out in
ability
Canto Bite.
is video
that.
games. She's a
What
gamer,
if
so
she
she's gonna.
owns like a cantina and she like takes over and like becomes like a good Sid, you know,
Oh,
like
she
Takes-
takes
But what
out
if-
Sid
Oh,
first.
wait,
and
wait.
then she uses
Yeah,
that
kills her and takes her
cantina.
throne.
Star Wars medical show, yes. I
Like-
that book.
Like
You know-
Good job.
literally,
House
like
and-
like ER.
like ER, yeah,
Yes,
ER.
yes,
But
yes.
Omega is like, you know, it's just her in a lab, and every
Omega, of
episode
course
she's
not.
just
Omega's Dr. House. She has a limp.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
A pill addiction.
Okay.
Wow.
So here's the real question. Would Omega have been able to save Nemec and Andor? That's the real question I'm proposing here. If
Hmm.
if
That's the guy
that
who
would be the
couldn't
first
swim, right?
patient,
No.
no.
Nemec,
That's the guy who gets slammed by the credits.
Yeah, the commie.
Nemec Andor.
Right, yeah, on the when
like
they
He
take
Matt
off
Ross,
on Aldani.
Les Mis. That's like the best
Yeah.
way I can describe
Oh
him.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so
He had his
true.
manifesto, remember?
Yeah,
Yes.
super
and
nice
sadly,
guy.
Dr. Quad Paws was not able to
No.
save him.
He died before the ship even landed, so I don't think Omega would have been able to save him. So
That's not true.
didn't
wasn't
he
dead
like
by
die
the-
on the ship?
No, he died on the table.
Oh,
I-
Oh,
actually
that's
think the
right.
most-
They did land. Yeah.
I think the most likely scenario, though, is still one of the darkest because all the clones have the accelerated aging except for
Yes.
her. So she would just watch them die of old age.
She's like
Like,
Logan.
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah.
She's,
No,
I mean, she's
literally.
older than all of them
yeah, that's
right
true.
now.
Okay, hear me out though. Limited run series, medical style show of Omega trying to find like a cure to slow down the aging.
Love
And
that.
in the
Ooh.
end, they still die, but she's like, ah, that's life.
That sounds like a great ending. No,
The whole
I
time,
wanna-
like the
When you
antidote was
were-
right in front of her the whole time, and she was just laissez-faire the entire
Yep.
series.
That's
Never actually
awesome.
gets to it.
Elena,
That's
so you were
funny.
talking about the Cody theory, and the only reason it still, I think, keeps coming up is because I feel like in several different, like, remember when, like, flashbacks or, like, pre-episodes, they always show that moment of Cody, like, walking away, like, in front of that big wall, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they just keep showing that imagery like it's going to pay off to something still. And there's still no like crumbs anywhere.
Unless, and this is my only like real true like off the wall Bad Batch theory, is Cody actually like left and we see him return with Rex. And then Cody
Mhm.
either dies during the battle, and then that is, you know, the final chapter in Cody's story, and we get to see Cody die, you know, quote unquote hero. Or he survives and just kind of gives Rex a good old handshake and goes off on his merry way. Either or, I wouldn't be mad about in the instance that that clone is Tech.
Yeah.
If it
So
ends up being Cody, I would say that that would be one of the biggest like Achilles heels of Star Wars currently. Would be creators telling stories for specific characters rather than for the narrative of the show. Right? The Bad Batch is
Agreed.
really Omega's show. She has no relationship with him. So if he pops back in, we will be like, oh yeah, it's Cody. I love that guy. If you jumped on ship with the Bad Batch, what would that if the Bad Batch was the first piece of Star Wars media you watched, what would that mean to you? You're like, oh, that's
it's a
another
clone.
It's a clone.
now and that I feel like was happening in the Ahsoka show where there was
Mhm.
things that they were trying to pay off that they didn't set up, that never actually we didn't actually see. It were things that we had to write in our head to connect these dots, and maybe that's correct, but it was things that the show itself didn't earn, right? And that bugged me, and that's just, I don't know, I don't like that.
No, that's fair. I honestly, I think the most likely of what's going to happen is that the gang's going to get all back together, but they're all going to be taken out like as sacrificial. Like one's going to sacrifice one for the other, and then it's just going to be a domino effect. It's going to
Some
be
Rogue One stuff.
it's going to be the clone. It's going to be the clone rebellion uprising. They're going to somehow destroy Tantus, and I think the person that pushes the final button is Omega. I don't think any of them are going to make it out alive. It also pushes back on, hey, we still need to find Exegol. Like if they still had Tantus, what's the whole point of Exegol? You know what I mean? So they have
I don't know if they have Exegol yet.
No, they don't. He doesn't. Chaco, correct me if I'm wrong. He doesn't discover Exegol until, isn't it? So in the second Vader or third Vader run, we see Exegol for the first time in canon. Correct.
We see it for the first time, but it is well established. I do think Palpatine has Exegol at this point in time, mostly because of right, he was feeling stuff called to him throughout the Force and through the the second Thrawn book with alliances.
Yeah,
That and in a certain point of view from Empire Strikes Back, he also has something as well. Does he not?
Yeah. And then also it's kind of implied in the Tarkin book as well.
Yep.
So I think he has it. He just doesn't have the technology and stuff available there, and he's not going to bring all these scientists and stuff to Exegol.
Unless he has to. Unless he has to, which I think will end up being why Tantus has to go bye-bye. Because I feel like to push him closer to that conclusion, what we see in The Rise of Skywalker, that's got to happen. Because he's got to start from scratch. Because if you remember from The Mandalorian, they're basically doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. And it's they got to repurpose themselves.
Yeah, I mean, orbital bombardment is something they do on a regular basis.
Yeah. Pre-Death Star, yeah.
When all the ashes fall, only Luke is left standing.
Oh no! Please don't bring back Luke. No, I think what I would say about like the Rex and Cody stuff and how I would disagree. I don't believe it's like not important just because it's forcing these characters, to be relevant again. I think it's absolutely relevant to the purpose of the Bad Batch, that it's not just, the story of the Mandalorian, but earlier, right? I think the clone uprising is important, and I think it will have some lasting consequence in, how the Empire is able to justify expanding their military and things like that. It could have implications on the politics as we saw in season 2. And there's plenty of, ethical things that in existential questions from the Clone Wars that I believe they could really conclude with a culmination like that. So I don't think it would just be fun, cool Star Wars cameo, but I do think that, those two storylines are important and both relevant.
Yeah, agreed. With that, should we go into the hot take segment of the show?
Heck yeah.
Let's do it.
Button time.
Roger.
Oh,
wrong.
Don't be too proud of this podcast you've constructed. The ability to rank content is insignificant next to the power of an exceptional hot take.
That video's been around for a minute. It'll probably be around for another couple of minutes. Definitely for the rest of this segment, because we have to talk about hot takes. I don't know if anyone's got one, but I've got one that comes to mind. Now, we talked about it earlier. We can all agree Star Wars has never been in a worse position than it is now. It's embarrassing and quite honestly tragic to see how the mighty have fallen. It's whatever. Anyway, that to be said.
We all agree?
I don't think
let him go.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
The idea I have here, to save Star Wars, there's only one thing. Now, if we all are like Omega, just walking by a vial that could save the clones and just ignorant to this, then so be it. Right? We've almost ignored it the first time. The answer is a Boba Fett show.
No, it's
And
not.
in that Boba Fett show, what we need to do this time around, recast Boba Fett. And that saves Star Wars.
Why?
As
Why would
who?
you do that? Why
Who
would
would
you
you
do that?
And who would
That's
you
a
cast?
terrible idea. Thank
Well, here's
God
the
you
thing.
don't
Just
call
a
the
weeks
shot.
gonna be
ago, I
it.
said they should do a cast Daniel Logan as like young Boba Fett again.
I literally was thinking Daniel Day-Lewis when you said that, and I was very confused for a moment.
Maybe though.
I'd watch
Sure,
that.
I mean,
I'd be confused the whole
he'll
time.
win an Oscar for it at this point. You know,
Mhm.
I would.
drink your bantha milk.
it's like the Joker like setup, but it's Boba Fett. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. But all I'm saying is, look, Tamara Morrison just cannot keep up with the moves at this point, and he's just getting older. But he can still voice act. And if we're gonna like basically treat Pedro Pascal like a bag of dirt, why not do that with other actors, right? Like, let's treat Tamara Morrison as just a voice actor as well at this point. He's older, and obviously we don't regard him highly. Like, we basically locked him out of Lucasfilm and don't tell him what plans for future shows are going on. So clearly we don't respect him. So let's just have him be a voice actor for this show, bring Boba Fett back, and have it be this Punisher style show that I've been saying forever.
Hmm.
Where
Why
all
don't
these-
you just ask for an animated show then?
No,
Agreed.
no.
Yes.
Nope.
Why?
Yes.
That's not
Why?
going to save Star Wars, Amanda. I'm sorry. The animated route will not save it.
What if it's a super violent
You're-
anime
wait.
style?
I'm
Wait,
not
time
into
out.
violence.
Like 3D
Brian.
animation.
That's not my
Wait.
thing.
But
That's
you
what
want
you're
a
saying.
Punisher.
Wait, time out. You're asking for one of the most insignificant before a certain time character to come in and save a whole franchise.
100%. If Mando
Good
could,
one.
Boba easily could.
If we get all the dude bros back on board, Star Wars will be saved.
I don't see any problem with what you just said.
All right. Well, I disagree.
Where's our disagree
Yeah.
button? Who's on the buttons today?
I got a bad feeling about this hot take.
I have maybe too simple of a hot take, but for this episode, I think the only redeeming factor of it was the appearance of Admiral Rampart's beard. And that may be one of the best things that this season has produced to us. And no, we do not idolize fascists, but like we can separate art from artists and appreciate how grown out hair and a thick beard really, pulls a look together.
I will say, hard agree. Rampart, love it, love it,
This is a-
love it,
this
love
is
it.
a hot
Maybe
take,
best
though.
beard in Star Wars,
But-
if I need to go that far.
Ooh, best beard, no,
No.
no.
Apple
That
Ramsey's.
goes to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi's got the best beard.
This is
Yeah.
so
But
milk
I-
toast.
But I won't say it's like the best thing. One of the best things. I think there's so many other. So I partially to a point.
Mm.
You fool! Your take is milk toast.
Didn't press it. I don't know who pressed it.
He said it. Someone pressed it. I'm not going to say it was me, but I did it.
No. I thought this was a democracy.
No.
Oh,
Yeah, the people
that's a
have
good one.
spoken.
Apparently Brian's like, and
I agreed, so I pressed the button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say my hot take. If you don't know Legends, it might be a little like, ugh, but I prefer Tantus base to Mount Tantus. So compared to the Legends version, there are so many similarities. From just the cloning, from, I mean, obviously the name, from the Lucra hounds, in my eyes, being very similar to the Y Salamiri. While they're not native to that planet, it's a very correlating thing with Heir to the Empire. But I always felt, especially reading Heir to the Empire, that Tantus had this very mystical, almost like Ren Fair-esque feel. That is the vibe I always got from it, just because they kind of put it, it was a storage unit for a lot of Palpatine's treasures and historical items. So there's always a lot of mythos and lore. But I really like this very cold, cynical, like scientific feeling that is coming from Tantus base, and even from the name, like Tantus base, like that's something technical, that's something important. Mount Tantus, like I'm going on an adventure. So for me, this is one of the kind of adjustments from Legends that I really, really, truly get behind.
So it's truly, you're just talking about the semantics of it.
Yeah, just the general
like
like
air that the language brings about the environment.
So they are
Well, they function differently though.
Yeah, they're two different things.
Yes.
Essentially. So Mount Tantus had cloning. It's more heavily associated with Thrawn, Luke, the whole heir to the Empire. They kind of just took the name and the cloning aspect and threw it on Tantus, Tantus base. But I prefer this version of Tantus.
I would agree with you, and I especially love this. Is one of my takes from our reaction, but it feels symbolic that Tantus base is like a mountain, a natural structure that's been turned into this mechanical monstrosity. Because that's exactly what it seeks to do. Is it takes the natural thing that is the Force, and they're trying to like jerry rig it to make. They're going to end up making a bunch of weird ball sack head looking dudes, but but I just like the concept of repurposing nature, where the Jedi and all the light side stuff is all built directly into nature versus the austere sterile look of all the Sith or Imperial things.
Right, of the rest of the Empire. Yeah, no, I agree as well. I was gonna say that I think it's like easily like one of the most important metaphors to Star Wars is this nature versus technology thing, and Mount Tantus is super cool.
Roger.
I thought it was milk toast, but Brian, you just pressing buttons before I could say anything. You're just you literally end with yourself.
What?
If he starts talking, you just interrupt him because he's gonna hit the button whenever he's done. You've got anything else? Luke and I hadn't even said anything, Brian. We're just sitting here.
It didn't seem like you.
No, I agree.
I thought he did say he agreed.
I agree. I agree. That's a good take. I like that.
All right. Well,
Okay.
I got... Dang it! I'm not. Ah!
All right,
It's fine.
Recognizing the
you can do the buttons if you want. I'll stop touching them.
No,
I'll just
you
look at
push
the chat.
buttons. You press the buttons, Brian. That's your job.
Okay.
I'm gonna say my hot take has to deal with. Good lord. Has to do with Faye, right? That's her name.
Fee?
Fee.
First of all, her ship is a modified. I was talking about this with Alanis. I think we watched it three times. I was like, I swear, that's a modified Lambda shuttle because it has the back and it has the main cockpit. Her ship is baller, by the way. That's the sweetest ship ever. That's not my hot take though. I think she's a top 2 pilot in the galaxy in all of canon, only behind Hera Syndulla. And ahead of Anakin Skywalker.
Whoa!
What has she done to prove that?
Did you not see what she did?
She drove
that one time
turbo tank.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on, the way she the way she was like able to like come out of hyperspace and like completely shut everything down.
Oh, that thing. That was a little cool.
That was cool. Like, let's be real here.
So diminishing. That was a little cool.
Come on.
Was it not? I mean, it's not bad. I just think that so many other pilots have
Poe
done so
Dameron
many
could have
cool
done
things. Poe Dameron did, yeah, and Anakin blowing
and
up
I'm
a
an
Trade
Anakin
Federation
fan.
Lucre Hulk at the age of 9.
Anakin would have crashed that.
Yes, he would have.
But
But he would have
Anakin
survived.
is the most annoying pilot, though, in all of Star Wars, by far. Give me a more.
I'm gonna
annoying
say I
pilot.
straight up disagree with Luke's
Poe.
hot take.
Poe is more annoying than Anakin Skywalker.
Poe was more annoying.
Yes.
Also disagree with that.
All right, I'm gonna disagree with Luke. even though
Yeah, hell yeah,
I'll
milk
disagree
toast.
as well. That is
Milk
I got a
toast.
bad feeling about this hot take.
all right.
I've got a hot take.
Do you?
I was worried Amanda was going to take mine because she started out the exact same way I was going to. With Rampart was the coolest part of this episode, and I think they added a lot of depth to his performance. And I know that Hemlock has the Riz, but Rampart does so much more than just reiterate the same plot points in a creepy whisper. He's like out there for a promotion. He's like everything the Empire represents about, just the ignorance of, others of the clones' feelings and their sentiments, and ignorance of Galaxy, how the citizens see his policies. And, he does more than just, make science happen. Like, I'm not even sure what Hemlock really does at this point. I think Rampart was a better villain than Hemlock. We all just forgot about him because he had a boring design. But now he doesn't.
Hard disagree. Yeah.
Go ahead, Alanis.
The reason that I'm hard disagreeing is what I loved about Hemlock is he is not the average Imperial. Like, Rampart reminds me a lot of Krennic. He reminds me a lot of Ronin. He reminds me of, in every power-hungry Imperial you can really think of. And, the second that I saw him with a beard, my first thought was, if they turn him into a rebel.
Callus? Oh.
Exactly.
I
Callus.
was like, I literally thought it was going to be Callus, yeah.
Yeah, and as much as I love Agent Callus, I would love if Star Wars challenged themselves, because they have this such complex, broad world, and it feels like they're kind of rehashing those stories. And that's why when I saw Hemlock, I was like, oh, creepy doctor, medical, like, ew. And I kind of fell in love with it. And I think why Rampart is kind of forgettable is he is just every Imperial.
Yeah, I think that
Agreed.
argument laid it out very soundly. Because, like, what makes, for me, Hemlock more interesting is because he's more sinister in a way that, like, what drew me in about Thrawn is that, like, oh, he just, like, thinks so differently and deeper than just any other general that you can kind of throw in here.
Well, I'd
Yeah.
I'd defend Rampart and then say that, yeah, I agree that he is kind of a lot like the other Imperials. Like, I see him kind of like a young Tarkin, but like, that's exactly what he needs to be. That's exactly what the show needed to show the transition between the Republic and the Empire. They needed someone that was rooted in the new philosophy to really show exactly how and why the galaxy changed the way it does. And that it wasn't instant, it wasn't overnight like it seems in Revenge of the Sith, that it's a slow, gradual, losing of your freedoms that is what leads to what the Empire is in A New Hope.
Well,
I feel like you just explained why both of them are so important, because you couldn't just start out with the Hemlock, right?
Right.
Hemlock is deeply unethical, and that's the point, right? When he talks to Palpatine, Palpatine's like, we're making monstrosities, right? This is not your average easy bake oven. Like, we are cooking up some shit. Like, he's going a lot further with things in places where there's no way Rampart would have gone, because he's a rule follower, and you need someone who doesn't believe in roads.
And in that way, he might actually end up turning kind of like Callus, because he's like, this guy ended up actually being net bad for me and what I actually wanted for the world.
Yeah.
So he might try to, like, actually give in. But I do hate that he just, like, escaped prison and now he's, like, out. Like, I hope that they, like, let him go, but then, like, blast out his kneecap before they.
Wow, and I'm the dark one.
So violent.
I think there's a chance for.
People need to be decapped in more media. I feel like
Agreed.
They don't come back. I'm just saying.
Oh my god!
I would love a shot just at the end of one episode of them exiting the ship and them dropping them off, the ship flying away, and we see the hatch open a little bit, and Crosshair for the first time with steady hands shoots him.
Ooh.
That would be
I
dope.
think that would be so powerful.
That'd be cool. He'd overcome his fear and his
Mhm.
well, is it? Yeah,
I
it's a
think you're all
hindrance.
just as dark as I am.
Not me. I'm innocent.
I guess my hot take, it's gonna be milquetoast. Because I thought it was limited to just this episode, but the big thing I thought of was this episode came in the wrong order.
Agreed.
This episode, it shouldn't have been where it was. The episode that's all about why is her name escaping me? The other
Emery Carr.
Emery. Yeah, Emery's episode should have come after this episode, but as a flashback. So you the first time we see them walking through the red fields, we don't know what's on the other side.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then takes her to a prison with children in it, and it's like, this is your home now. That leaves us in the episode going, what is that? And
Yes.
then we flash forward to Emery, and it goes 2 weeks ago, and we see her finding out for the first time, and we can kind of explore it that way. Yeah, the episode is in the wrong order.
Yeah, that
I
would have
don't
been
think we
interesting
did it
to leave
right.
it off
That's
on.
correct.
Here's the Pokemon starter Jedi that she's gonna have to choose. That would have been a much more tension leaving with that, and then waiting to see all
Well,
that. I will have to
and
agree.
it could have been a plot point much earlier on when Omega was still like first stuck on Tantus, that they were like, we need to keep going through resources to try to find her, and building up more of that distance between them over maybe another episode or two, than her kind of finding them and now she's back with them. But
Yeah. I mean, I half agree it was out of order, but I personally think this would have been a lot better as the season and series finale.
Just
What?
leave it there.
Put it right. Slap it right at the end.
Brody just wants Star Wars to suck, so his opinion is correct.
I agree with Chaco.
I agree.
I think it's milk
Yeah.
toast, but like I agree with him.
Should I press the milk toast button then?
No,
know.
it's
Yes,
agree.
that-
Just press.
Do both.
You fool! Your take is milk toast.
All right, it's time for the last segment of the show. Force Ghost Charlie, take it away.
This is the way to trivia time!
That's right. It's trivia time. For all of you who've been around Duel of the Ranks since the beginning, includes you, KG, you've been here for a minute. We started this show out with 4 hosts. Then we had 3. Then we had 4 again. And then we were at 3 again.
Then there's 2.
Then there was 2 for a while. And then we were back up at 3 after an eventful Uber ride where Brian changed my life.
That's what I do.
Now we were thinking more about it. You know what's a lot more fun than 3 or 4? 6. So my question is, Chaco, Luke, Alanis, do you guys just want to like stick around and like run the show with us for a while? Just like host this thing.
No.
Absolutely
No,
not. I'm done.
You have to like same time every week, or like
Oh, he's out of here.
On that note, there's bounces.
Just kidding. Just
Well,
kidding.
unfortunately, there was a contract that was slipped your way before we started.
No, I love the idea of being able to share these. I'll be able to come up with some better actual hot takes and
Yeah.
make y'all proud.
No doubt.
No, yeah,
So-
absolutely. Count me
So
in.
today we are doing some DOTR trivia for the new hosts. The question is, when this show started, and again, for all of you who are here, we're really going to test your knowledge too. So if you're listening, put it in the comments or write it in the description. Let us know. Who do you think came up with the name Duel of the Ranks? Was it A, Amanda, B, for Brody, C, for Charlie, or D, for Dristian?
Oh, so
Christian with a silent D.
Oh, we were on a
Oh.
roll, and then Christian
Oh.
ruined it. Who came up with the name Duel of the Ranks?
man.
Chaco, why don't we start with you?
I'm gonna say that was Charlie.
Luke?
I'll answer.
I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but I can't remember. This was brought up a long time ago.
In a galaxy
Uh,
very near.
I want to say it was Christian.
Alanis?
You know, I'm one for the girlies. I'm going Amanda.
And Brian?
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's Amanda.
It's Amanda.
That's right.
And that wasn't even on AI. That was straight from the manual
noggin.
brain. Yeah.
The noggin.
Yeah, there was
manual
no
brain,
chat
yeah.
GPT at this point in human history. The show
Yeah.
predates that. Well, no AI is going to replace the amount of fun that you hosts are going to bring to this show. We are so flippin' excited. This has been a long, long time coming. So, Chaco, Luke, Alanis, thank you for joining us. Any final thoughts before we close out this week's episode?
Let's hope he's either Tech or Cody.
Or Crosshair.
And that's it.
Or
That's
Marek.
Don't bring back Book of Boba Fett or anything Boba Fett related.
For the love of God, stick the landing. I feel like
too.
we have had trouble sticking landings in the past.
Yeah, well, hopefully they do. But for the folks who are listening to this podcast today, just know we're not going to be all 6 of us. Only special occasions will you round up the entire council. We all get together again. We are going to have 4 hosts per week. So it's going to have some varieties. So you're going to want to be sure to stay tuned in because it's not going to be the same 4 every week. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. Otherwise, that's been this week's episode of Duel the Ranks. But you're holding on to my shirt. You're like, please, desperately, I need more. Well, we're getting caught up on our podcast episodes, so you'll get more of those. But while you're waiting on the audio stuff to get uploaded, and you want more Duel the Ranks content, Amanda, where do they go to find that?
Check us out at dueloftheranks.com, where you can go back and check out where we ranked previous shows that we reviewed, plus all of the movies. We have all of those rankings already there. And you can also listen to our previous live streams on our YouTube channel. So make sure you like and subscribe and comment and share with another Star Wars friend. So that way you have a buddy to watch the Bad Batch finale with and a podcast to go along with it.
Also on our YouTube is our updated Discord link, so people can finally join our Discord. Just go to our YouTube
it's
channel under
updated
the
on the
description.
website too.
Awesome. Yeah, so get people
Join
in our
the
Discord.
channel.
We're going to do question of the day. We got all kinds of fun stuff in there, like finish the fan fiction that I want to get started.
Yeah,
it's
and we'll
gonna
be
be a good
playing some
time.
Battlefront 2 this weekend. So if anyone wants to jump in, yeah.
It's happening. Yeah. Well, this has been an awesome time. And for you folks who don't know who these 3 other hosts are, like I'm telling you, you got Sith Faced, you got Pod Ones. You've literally, I mean, George Chaco, you've got your TikTok, but how many podcasts have you done to this point? You've done at least 2.
3.
Yeah, so only 2 are mine, but I just
Got your high ground.
and
Dive
talk
out of the
talk
pool.
Star Wars with people.
It's all sorts of Star Wars. I mean, these are not podcast Star Wars noobs, folks. They're going to be bringing the A game. So we're really, really excited about that. And for all other else details on Blop, more to come soon. Brian's working very, very hard to get you that fan film. So until then, that's been Duel the Ranks, and we'll see you next week for another episode. Adios.